Hello and good day to everyone. Welcome to lesson 109 in our continuing series for beginner harmonium players. And today I want to do a second installment dealing with chords. If you recall, lesson 107, I touched on chords within the scales. So I want to just refresh your memory a little bit here, and I will probably deal with chords in a couple scales just so that you see there is consistency. If you recall, a major scale, and don't forget I said at the very beginning that all our lessons, it doesn't matter what level lesson we are talking about, they are all based on one foundation, and that is the major scale. That is the foundation on which everything is built. So the major scale, we said we had an interval formula of 1, 1/2, 1, 1, 1/2, and that can be, it doesn't matter which note we start on within the octave. You can work that out. You can work out the major scale for that particular starting note. And also I said that within the major scale, let's say I am talking about the C scale, we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. But I said that instead of naming the notes, let's assign numbers to the notes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But 8 actually is 1 again because it's the same C note in a higher octave. So the major, the root chord, the C triad, as we would say, the major triad is 1, 3, 5. And within that scale, we have another major chord, which is 1, 4, 6. Except this 1, 4, 6, it's an inversion of the 4 chord. It's really an F chord, or the chord on the 4th note, I should say. In this case it happens to be F, and that would be the second chord. The third chord would be 2, 5, 7, and again that's an inversion of the chord. The chord is actually D, G, B in this case, but the root G. So it's a G major triad here. So we have C, F, and G. And if you go back to lesson 107, you can see where we can play every note on that scale, and we can fit one of those 3 chords into the scale, and that's major chords. Now there are some, those would be what we would call the primary chords in the major scale. There are secondary chords as well. So we have, let's say when we play the note C, we can play the chord of C. When we play the note F, we can play the chord F. When we play the note G, we can also play the chord G. There are some additional chords, the secondary chords, which I did not give you in lesson 107, which I'm going to give you today. The secondary chords would be on the 2 note, 2, 4, and 6. That would be this case, the D minor. On the 3 note, we'd have 3, 5, 7. In this case, we have E minor. We already had 4 and 5. The 6th note, you notice 6 and really it's 1, 3. That's the A minor in this case. Now the 7th note, we in Indian music, we normally don't assign a chord to it, but if you really want to know a chord, it would be, that doesn't sound very well. It's actually a B diminished chord, but that doesn't sound very well and it's hardly ever used. So let's recap that. We have C note, C chord. That's number 1. On the 4th note, we have the chord, major chord as well. And on the 5th note, we have major chord. 1, 3, 5, we said, 1, 4, 6, and 2, 5, 7. On the 2nd note, we have the minor chord. The 3rd note, we have a minor chord. And the 6th note, we have a minor chord. The 7th note, we do not assign a chord to it. It would be the diminished chord, but that's not normally used. In most cases, when we play that note, we would be playing a G chord with it. Now, there are some additional chords which I want to tell you about because I think it's necessary for you. If you are playing harmonium, you would see people playing keyboard or piano, and they would talk about different types of chords. And I just want to put your mind at ease. If you're playing harmonium and you're playing Indian music, many of those chords will not apply to you. Why? Very simple. If you're playing harmonium, normally the harmonium player plays with one hand that has 5 fingers, unless of course you have more than 5 fingers on your hand, which would hardly be the case. We have, let me go through all of the chords that I think as a harmonium player you should be aware of. Not necessarily play all of them, or you may not get an opportunity to play all of them, but you should be aware of them. So let's begin. I'm going to tell you, we have the major triad, and if we add the 7th note, it is what we call the major 7 chord. So 1, 3, 5, and we add 7 to it. Now if we play 1, 3, 5 and we hit the flattened 7th note, which in this case would be B flat, that would be your dominant 7th chord, or in many cases it would just be referred to as the 7th chord. So we have major triad, major 7, dominant 7. Now, if we have the major triad and we flatten the 3rd here, we have what is called a minor triad. And the minor triad, together with the flattened 7th note, gives the minor 7. Now maybe I need to recap here. the minor scale. In this case, C minor would be, you would notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's still the 7th note. We are taking the minor chord and adding the 7th note on that scale to it. And that would be your minor 7. Now, remember I said the minor triad. If we took the minor triad, 1, the flattened 3, and if we also flatten the 5th, this is what we have. And that's what I was talking about earlier, the diminished triad, which we would hardly ever use. Now we do have the augmented triad, which would be, instead of flattening the 5th, we would sharpen the 5th. We would go a half note higher. And that sounds a lot better. And the reason it sounds a lot better is because it's in fact a major chord. It's actually the major chord for that 6th note on your minor scale. So we can play that, the augmented triad. So let's go back to, again, the major triad. There are 2 more chords that I want to tell you about. We have what is called the sus4. It's a big word for, all we are doing is, instead of the third, we are playing the 4th. So we are playing this, it's called the sus4. And we have the sus2. Well, guess what? Instead of the 3, we play the 2 now. And I really don't know of too many uses for those in Indian music. Now, if you are playing piano or keyboard, which of course I am not teaching, you would hear about 7th and 9th and 11th and 13th and so on. In other words, what they do is they would number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And you would be playing, for instance, if you are talking about a 9th chord, you would be playing these 4 notes, the 1, 3, 5, 7, together with the 9th note. And if you are playing an 11th, well, I guess I would need an extra finger to play the 11th note. Of course, if you are playing with both hands on a keyboard or piano, it would be possible. So I just wanted to give you those. If you are playing harmonium, you would have reached the point where you want to learn more chords and so on. Now, one very important thing is, in Indian music, and I referred to this in one of my earlier lessons, where I said that, in fact, in lesson 108, when I was talking about the Indian system of naming notes, I said there are 2 pure notes, 1 and 5. These do not change. So I would be very hesitant to change that 5th note and play a flattened or sharpened note in its place. And this is why you would find that Indian music sounds quite different. Of course, with modern music, many of these would now be used, but not in the strict Hindustani, let's say classical music. You would hardly hear any of that. So I hope this enlightens you a little bit about the chords, and when you are playing, maybe you would be able to fit some of these chords within whatever song you are playing. Just to recap, I said we had 1, 3, 5, 1, 4, 6, 2, 5, 7. And also within the minor scale, we have 1, 3, 5, 1, 4, 6, 2, 5, 7. 1, 3, 5, 1, 4, 6, 2, 5, 7. Those would be your basic chords. Now, interestingly, within the major scale, I said we had 3 major chords, and we also had 3 minor chords, and I did not play the 7th, which would be a diminished chord. For the minor scale, we have 3 minor chords. We also have 3 major chords. So look at what happens. We have, here is the first minor. Now, remember it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. C minor, F minor, G minor. So these 1, 2, 3 notes are already taken. So what about 1, 2, 3, sorry, 3 and 4? Because those would be the 4 notes that are left. In this case, the 2 note is the one. The 2 note is the one that we will not play any chord on that, because the note that what would correspond to that would be your diminished chord, and it would hardly ever be played. The 3 other notes, which would be we have a major chord, then we have another major chord, another major chord, and if you check them out, you would see all of them are within that scale. So major chord, we have, sorry, major scale, we have 3 major chords and 3 minor chords. The 3 major chords would be the 1, the 4, and the 5. Minor scale, we would have, again, minor chords on 1, 4, and 5. Minor chords. Major scale, we would have minor chords on the other 3 other notes except the 7. Minor scale, we would have major chords on the other 3 notes except the 2. I hope I haven't confused you here, but if you go through the video and go through slowly, you can work the chords out for all of the scales, and I hope this helps in your future playing. Thank you very much for viewing, and I will see you in lesson 110, the 10th lesson. Thank you.